She is actually declining other interviews while doing trash interviews with Charlamagne the God. Let's see what that is all about, and let's see what interviews she is actually turning down while ensuring that she can do a audio town hall in Detroit.
While former President Trump took the time to speak with Bloomberg, Kamala Harris said, no thanks.
Just for the record and for those people watching on television, the Economic Club of Chicago and Bloomberg both invited Vice President Harris to a similar interview about her economic plans that she has declined so far.
Anything to actually deep dive into finance, economics, money, the small business, how we're funding other wars but not funding here in the United States of America, she turns down because she can't stand in front of a teleprompter. It's easy not to be able to speak to the weed issues, or, if she don't want to go in a deep dive into her economic plan, then she's going to turn it down and she's going to reject it. And so Bloomberg, the Economic Club of Chicago, what she don't realize is that black people care more about our money, especially black men. Listen, black men understand money make the world go round. That's what Nas said. Nas said, if I ruled the world and everything in it, sky's the limit. I push a Q45 infinite. There wouldn't be no such thing as that. I push a Q45 infinite. That was back in like 92, 93 though. Strictly living longevity to the destiny I thought I'd never see. What? Reality struck. You better find out before your time's out. What the? If I ruled the world. Black diamonds and pearls. If I ruled the world. But anyway, she's turning down these interviews, the ones of substance that black men actually want to know what's going on, because nothing is better for us than getting our bag up. We can figure the rest of it out. But let's continue.
The Harris campaign has also rejected interviews from CNBC and Time magazine.
Joe Concha is a Fox News contributor, and he joins us now. Joe, good morning to you. So this is an interesting one because she is denying some interviews, but also she's going to be coming on Fox News today, and she apparently is toying with the idea of potentially going on Joe Rogan's show as well. So what do you make of her decisions, what she says yes and no to, and what it says about her overall strategy?
That would be a stretch.
Well, Carly, I think it shows that Kamala Harris is showing she can't do multiple difficult interviews at once, especially when those interviews are focused on the economy. And that's what the Bloomberg and CNBC interviews would have done. It wouldn't be like general questions like we saw with CNN or MSNBC, like what would you do to lower the cost of living? A question she usually answers by reminding us that she grew up in a middle-class neighborhood, that even SNL is mocking her around because she uses that in her answers so much. But it would, as we saw with Donald Trump, as you just showed at the Bloomberg Forum yesterday, it would be.
I'm going to be doing a review of Trump at the Bloomberg Forum yesterday, tomorrow, all right?
More than an hour-long deep dive into economic policy around antitrust laws or interest rates or trade deals or taxes. And I think Kamala Harris's CPU would likely, short circuit like an old computer if you poured water on it in that situation. So her handler said, no go. But as you mentioned, she then has to go on tonight with Bret Baier on Fox, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. in San Francisco Pacific time. And that's 30 minutes, no commercials, no edits. Bret will be professional as always, as we've seen in the past, and will ask tough, fair, and germane questions. This will be a make or break interview for her campaign tonight on Fox, because she's never really faced an interview like this before. 60 Minutes, she got a little taste of it, but I think this will be a much different story.
Why is it only a half hour? How come you can't just get a whole hour of straight up good dialogue questions? They strategically keep things to 24, 25 minutes, a half hour, and they let her filibuster. They let her go and throw a bunch of word salad and extend her answers for a very long time. And we're not impressed with that. We want a whole hour, Bloomberg, financial policy, trade deficits. We want to know all about that. Tariffs. We want you to deep dive into all of these real issues that we know that you're not capable of talking about.
Tonight, and let's see how she does when she.
And I will be breaking this down tomorrow, just to let y'all know.
actually gets these things called follow-up questions, which I'm sure Mr. Baer will engage in.
Yeah, without a doubt, it is going to be the main event. And I think you hit the nail on the head when it comes to the economic discussion, because when you go on a CNBC or a Bloomberg, like you and I, when we go on Fox Business, you have to view everything through the lens of money. And it definitely have to change how you approach topics
Everything
when you're
comes
sitting
back
down
down
for a
to the
discussion with a Maria, with a Stu. Can she do that? Joe Concha is saying that would be tough for her to do when it comes to her economic policies.
Which is one of the reasons why I don't believe she'll ever go on Joe Rogan.
A little bit. Harris resorting instead
What up,
to scare
Carrie?
tactics in her town hall with Charlamagne the God. Take a listen.
It's two very different visions for our nation. One mind that is about taking us forward and progress and investing in the American people, investing in their ambitions, dealing with their challenges. And the other, Donald Trump, is about taking us backward.
The other is about fascism. Why can't we just say it?
Yes, we can say that.
All right, Joe.
Sure, she would love to say that.
Yeah, she would love to say it. Listen, 3 weeks ago before the election, are we completely out of the joy phase and 100% all in to the fear-mongering phase?
We are.
Absolutely. I think we have been for some time when it comes to Donald Trump. The problem is if you keep saying those things over and over again, comparing him to Hitler and talking about fascism and Donald Trump, when we saw what his first presidency was like, where those things didn't remotely happen, it's the boy who cried wolf. In this case, it's Kamala Harris and Charlamagne the God who cried wolf. And no one's really listening when people say those things at this point. But I'll say this, Todd. That was the worst interview of this campaign. I mean, by far. I had some hopes for this because Charlamagne the God has shown in the past that he can challenge folks, even if he agrees with them from a political perspective. But we had one question last night saying that Trump would put non-whites in camps, that he would put journalists in jail. We talked about the fascism. And oh, by the way, let's do reparations, or let's at least consider doing reparations for black citizens in this country, which would cost somewhere, this is according to the head of the Black Entertainment Network, would cost somewhere around $14 trillion, which I'm sure we can afford. And Charlamagne did almost no pushback on almost anything that Kamala Harris was saying. But here's the thing, though. It's just like when she went on Colbert or when she went on Stern. These things don't move the needle because most of the folks probably listening to that show were going to vote for Kamala Harris anyway. Again, watch Fox tonight if you want to see a real interview and not whatever that was.
Yeah, well, Charlamagne the God.
Let me ask y'all a question, just real quick. Let me ask y'all a question. Do y'all think that you are going to get reparations at all? I've been telling y'all this for the longest. I remember when y'all was running up and y'all was showing me this town hall / community meeting, and y'all said, well, Gavin Newsome over in California is going to give it to us. When? Brandon Johnson over in Chicago said that they're going to spend $500,000 studying it. When? Kamala Harris said she was going to look into it. When? Do y'all think that y'all actually going to get y'all check? They giving it to y'all in these 5 points for weed. Black women is telling y'all that y'all need to take it now. Take it now. They telling y'all that y'all need to take it now. Do y'all honestly believe in your heart, because you're going to be waiting on that till you die? Look, when we voting in this election today, I want y'all to understand what's at stake here. If you're above the age of 32, okay? Because I know that we have a wide range of people that's listening to this. I know that y'all sent this to y'all friends and family. I know that the likes look a little bit down. We got well over 5,000 people watching this right now. The likes is down, but y'all gonna get them up. And I know that y'all subscribing and y'all also tapping into the Patreon because the link is in the description and you already know that. And you know we did Block Club, the real estate stuff, so that you don't have to depend on the president, regardless of who it is, in order for you to get your bag, okay? What's at stake in this election? If you are above the age of 30, 32, 33 years old, if you are right on the cusp, you're going to get a little bit of it, but it ain't going to really matter. What's on the edge of this election and why this election is the most important of our lifetime? Because they say that every election, but this one truly is. It's for this reason and this reason alone. And I know nobody likes to talk about this, but I'm going to tell you why. The reason why this election is the most important election of our lifetime is because for most of us, the most important thing to us is our children. The reason why this is the most important election of our lifetime is because for most of us, the most important thing to us is our children. Me, as a 42-year-old black man, my life is what it is. Hopefully, I get another 40 to 42 years on this earth. God willing, I will be blessed as a result of it. But my life and who I am is set. My financial situation is going to be what it is. The trajectory of it is what it is. Most black people, most white people, most people are largely set in their ways as far as the path that they've created for themselves to determine what their life is going to be like for the next 20, 30, 40, and 50 years. We are who we are. The decisions that you've made from 20 to 50 is going to determine how you're hardened and whether or not your life is going to be phenomenal and fruitful, or whether it's going to be dependent on the federal government to make sure that you can feed yourself with the hope of that they forgive your student loans and that you can get Social Security for the rest of your life. But it's not about us. And for too long, the people that came before us, until the day that they died, only cared about themselves. That's why they had so many children, because they wanted to be taken care of. Their children was their economic retirement plan. They were going to use their children to take care of them. That's why they had so many. That's why they wanted to make sure that so many was born, so that maybe 1, 2, 3 of them can be successful, and then make sure that I'm straight in my retirement. We thought differently, which is why you can't use the same tropes and the same narrative and the same marketing to reach us as voters, because you can't dangle things in front of us and think that we're just going to take scraps anymore, because the decisions that we make is on the behalf of the people that come after us. Some of y'all was raised by single parents. Some of y'all was raised by single mothers, single fathers. Some of y'all was in divided households. Some of y'all seen abuse in y'all households. Some of y'all experienced life in a way that was negative for you, but you didn't lean into it. You walked away from it. And so you raise your kids in a much better environment. And sometimes we overcorrect. We over-pacify. We make sure that they don't go through the same things that we went through. And we don't know how to balance that. And we so far different. You seen your mother or your father being an alcoholic, and so you never touched beer before in your life. You seen a level of abuse, now you're using gentle parenting. And so we don't have no middle road. But a lot of times, what has become important to us, which is what Kamala Harris and the Democrats don't understand, is because they've never really experienced. She don't have kids. She's never opened up a business. She's never worked in the private sector. She doesn't know what it means to say some of the things that she's saying. And that's why she's tone deaf, because she doesn't resonate with the people. And the people can see through the BS because we've lived it. We've experienced it. We don't give people enough credit to be able to tell the real from the fake. When I see women that continue to follow Umar Johnson or Derek Jackson or any of these people, what I see are people that know better but do it anyway because it temporarily makes them feel good, because it's their drug of choice. It's their drug of choice. It makes them feel good even though they know that they're not going to get the results, but it's cool for a moment. It's like going to a concert. You still got to wake up and go to work in the morning though. And so we take the temporary path a lot of times, these females, and they don't look at what the long-term repercussions are going to be. When I look at a candidate and I say, wait a minute, she just said that she say her prayers, but who are you praying to when the very laws that you're creating and the narrative that you're spewing is that you can go and do whatever it is that you want to do, especially when it comes to going in women's bathrooms and gender affirmation and what's supposed to be in our books, and that you dancing next to Billy Porter on the White House lawn. God ain't a God of confusion. You can't sell me that you praying. That's a talking point. That's blasphemy to me. You can't tell me that you understand small business owners if you never even tried to open up a small business. You can't tell me that you understand what it means to be middle class if your entire retirement package was based off of the fact that you are being funded by taxpayers themselves and you got that good healthcare coverage. You never had to go and get a job and then sign up for healthcare coverage and then get laid off because you don't know what it feels like to get COBRA. You don't know what it feels like to actually get your hands dirty. Your hands are soft. You don't know what it feels like to actually have to deal with and worry about whether or not your children are going to be raised in an environment that's not conducive for them, and they're going to be subjected to the public school that's in their district because you don't have children. You have no clue what it takes to be successful. And see, the thing that they're not resonating with and they're not leading with that ultimately would really capture the heart of Americans, and this is why you can't get a campaign manager. You need a real one in your circle that's going to tell you the truth, is that the thing that resonates with us is the thing that's best for our kids. We'd die for our kids. We'd die for our kids. And the way that we see America going today is not going to be best for our children in the future. And that's why they're not going to win the election. That's why they don't resonate with the American people. And that's why they can't reach black men. Because I know men that'll stay in a relationship for decades in order to make sure that their kids is okay. I know men that will fight for their children and will go broke because they love their kids. I know men that don't move for the best opportunities that would be for them simply because it would be too far away from their kids. If y'all really wanted to know what black men thought, y'all would ask us. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. They don't capture the heart of the American people. When you see me talk, you know I'm really talking. This is me talking to you in real time, in real life. This is me talking to you in real time, in real life.